Hi friends! Welcome to the Art History, the Female Perspective, bringing awareness towards great female artists as a source of knowledge, inspiration, and women empowerment. Brought to you by Ina DAO, a home for female artists on the Web3. Ina DAO is made possible by our mother DAO, Creatives DAO, and the technology, support, and sponsorship of New Protocol. If you'd like to know more about us and our sponsors, the links are on this video's description. Great! Today we're talking about Womanhouse. Womanhouse in 1972, Judy Chicago and artist Miriam Shapiro, with more than 20 of their California Institute of the Arts feminist art program students, and plus local artists, transformed an abandoned mansion into a house filled with artistic representations of women's domestic experiences. Chicago and Shapiro saw Womanhouse as a way to embolden young women and provide an opportunity for them to move to a new level of artwork. The woman replaced broken windows, engaged in electrical work, refinished floors, and took on other hard labor. The house included 21 feminist installations. Womanhouse opened the way for new subject matter, new techniques, new ideas, and a new way of looking at art, Chicago later recalled. It was the first major installation of female-centered artwork and had maintained a lasting international impact. This is the invitation for Womanhouse at the time. They use a doily paper to be a little bit of cliche and a little bit of mocking it, a cliche of domestical feminine work and creating something new. On the opening of Womanhouse, only women were allowed to view the work. After the first day, all members of the public were allowed to enter. Here we have the front page of the exhibition catalog for Womanhouse. It was organized by Chicago and Miriam Shapiro. These are the two women sitting on the stairs. They're also co-founders of the CalArts feminist art program that they created at the time. By the side, you have the exterior of Womanhouse, where the women worked. They did all the housework. The houses were meant to be demolished, and they asked the owner to create the project there. So you can see the girls on the front of the house, and they are, well, taking everything off because the house was very old. The program that birthed Womanhouse was the feminist art program that began in the CalArts in 1971. The program was led by Judy Chicago and Miriam Shapiro, and its members included the CalArts students as well as local artists from the community. The feminist art program was without appropriate space at the start of the school year, which set the path that the program would tread to create an ideological and symbolic conflation of women in houses. Students would sit in a circle and discuss different topics in this safe space. This was intended to nourish the students and provide growth to promote a more womb-like atmosphere. Self-perception and reflection was key to this experience to also help prompt further ideas for Womanhouse. The problems that Shapiro and Chicago felt the students had revolved around their status as women. This included a lack of assertiveness and ambition, unwillingness to push themselves beyond limits, unfamiliarity with art-making processes and tools. The aim that was by teaching women to use tools and to construct to a good standard, they could restructure their personalities and to be consistent with their artistic goals. Shapiro and Chicago believe that society fails women by not demanding excellence from them. The overarching goal of this program and of Womanhouse was to create an all-female space that promoted more inclusion of female artists and to expose the CalArts students to already established female artists, not limited to Shapiro and Chicago. Here are all the women assembled, not all of them, but the biggest part, and a list of their names, and we are going to cover each one as we are advancing in each slide to present their work and talk about them a little bit. This is the first piece. It's called Personal Environment by Judy Huddleston. This was intended by the artist to be an entirely different world that transcends the established plane. It was an entrance up to the room with this whole scenario that seemed like a nature scene. This next piece is called Leaf Room by Ann Mills. A room with painted leaves, and the leaves represented cycles of seasons, life, and feelings. They also functioned as symbolic shields for the artist, allowing her to both expose herself and hide at the same time. In her words, I was initially attracted to this room by this oval ceiling and the leaves outside the windows. The leaves grew into large shields for me, behind which I could hide, while at the same time they revealed what I was. As the leaves developed, they began to form a cycle. Externally, they were the seasons, with the inevitable life and death, while internally, they were a cycle of feelings which burst forth, gradually subside, and then return to the past to begin again. This one is called The Dollhouse Room by Sherry Brody and Miriam Shapiro. The dollhouse serves as a centerpiece of the dollhouse room. It is a six-room miniature house. The artist's studio room contains a miniature nude man atop a pedestal. It's kind of hard to see because the image is a bit small, but I hope you can see it. And with an erect penis and bananas at his feet. Downstairs, a miniature woman sits at her dressing table. There are many monsters present in the dollhouse, despite its familiar domestic aspects. To the left of the artist studio is a nursery with a baby replaced by a monster. Outside the window, peering in, is a grizzly bear. Downstairs, a group of 10 men stare in through the kitchen window. A rattlesnake is curled on the parlor floor. The dollhouse was acquired by the Smithsonian Institution in 1995 and is the only publicly available piece of Womanhouse. By the side, we have another piece that is called Lingerie Pillows that was created by Sherry Brody. The pillows were sewn from underwear and bras and displayed on a small tabletop. Miriam Shapiro related a story that the curator of LACMA came to have a tour of Womanhouse. In the dollhouse room, he picked up one of the pillows, and when he realized what he was holding, he was embarrassed. Shapiro recalled that everyone in the room had laughed, but upon reflection, she wished that she had questioned his aversion to something delicate, intimate, and feminine. This is the dining room. It's a huge installation that represented a greater collaborative effort than any other room in the house. 7 women painted walls, ceilings, mural, molding, sewed curtains, tablecloth, plates to hold the food, stitched and fashioned the chandelier, baked bread, dough, and constructed a table. 7 women behaving as adults and pretending like little girls that this giant dollhouse room was real. This one was created by Beth Beckenheimer, Sherry Brody, Karen Lecoq, Robin Mitchell, Miriam Shapiro, and Faith Wilden. This one is called Nurturing Kitchen by Susan Fraser, Vicky Hodgetts, and Robin Welsh. The kitchen is composed by a few pieces. There are 3 different installations inside one by the 3 artists. The first one is the kitchen, is this one. This 3 pieces. 3 pictures are from the same space. The Kitchen by Robin Welsh. In her words, a little poem. The soft pink of a kitchen pink, its openers, strainers, blenders, its cups, pots, and hot ovens, its boxes, cans, and glass packages, its faucets and nippled knobs, a toaster, juicer, and waffler, all pink-skinned. How would you like your eggs done this morning? This is the next part of the same installation that were divided by 3 artists. This is Aprons in Kitchen by Susan Fraser. There's a display in the Nurturing Kitchen, the bigger piece. Aprons are fashioned with breasts and other female body parts. This allows the female to remove her bodily features when she's done with housework, implying that her physical body is inextricably linked to her societal role. In her words, by Susan Fraser. Come in, eat, please put on the apron strings and experience the heart of the home with me. The outside is no longer with you. You are now embraced by my nurturing pink womb, giving life, sustaining milk from my breasts. The umbilical cord has been cut through, and you must hold on to the apron strings real tight, or you might have to rely on yourself. Tisk tisk. I must work harder to sustain life for you, to meet your biological needs, feed your habits with habits. I am an abbot to you. I'm not an abbot. Release me. Let me go. You don't know me. You don't own me. I'm a human being, not just a source of cheap labor for lazy people. I want to undo these apron strings, to see what the rest of the world is doing, to see if I can help, to see myself once again. I want to travel, to see wonders I only dream of daily. To see wonders I only dream of daily, right here, in the heart of the home facade. Susan Fraser. This is the next part. It's called Eggs to Breasts by Vicky Hodgetts. Forms covered the ceilings and walls, starting as eggs by the ceiling, and gradually transforming into breasts as the potter continues down. Underscores the woman's traditional role as a nurturer by combining images of the kitchen and a woman's sagging breasts. In Vicky's words, eggs to breasts. We had a consciousness-raising session on kitchens. Some people saw kitchens as fulsome, warm, nurturing. Others saw kitchens as dangerous, with hot stoves and sharp knives. Viciousness in the kitchen, the potatoes hiss. I had a fleeting image of fried eggs stenciled over everything. Walls, ceiling, floor, and some people saw breasts. Breasts were nurturing. Kitchens were the extension of mother's milk. I felt a little railroad. I still wanted eggs. And then Robin said, "Why not have a transformation from eggs to breasts?" And we were all delighted. And that's very important, because although I was the one who finally carried through that aspect of the kitchen and the idea was really a collective one. It simply would never have existed if women have not tried to work together. Vicky Hodgett. Sorry, I went back. This one is Crocheted Environment by Faith Wilding. It resembles a primitive womb shelter. The room is painted black. Crocheted thread covers the wall and a single light bulb illuminates from the ceiling. In Faith Wilding's words, a quote from her, "Our female ancestors first built themselves and their families round-shaped shelters. These were protective environments, often woven out of grasses, branches, or weeds. I think of my environment as linked in form and feeling with those primitive womb shelters, but with the added freedom of not being functional." This piece is very famous, one of the most famous installations of the Womanhouse, along with the kitchen, is called Menstruation Bathroom by Judy Chicago. The bathroom is painted a stark white, and the layer of gauze covers the shelves. A single trash can is overflowing with what appears to be used tampons, a woman's hidden secret that cannot be covered up. In Judy Chicago's words, menstruation is something women either hide, are very matter-of-fact about, or are ashamed of. Until I was 32 years old, I never had a serious discussion with my female friends about menstruation. The bathroom is an image of women's hidden secret, covered over with a veil of gauze, very, very white and clean and deodorized. Deodorized, except for the blood. The only thing that cannot be covered up. However we feel about our own menstruation is how we feel about seeing this image in front of us. Judy Chicago. This piece is called Bridal Staircase by Kathy Huberland. Features a life-size doll replica of a bride, complete with a veil and wedding dress descending the stairs. She is fixed against the wall on the landing. Gauzy fabric adorns the walls and garlands of green and flowers encircle the banister. On Kathy's words, "When I was young, I had a belief that the white knight would come and carry me off to eternal protected bliss. I lived with this fantasy and did not think too far beyond the dreamy white wedding day. My piece deals with the not-so-dreamy reality that, for most women, lies beyond that wedding day. The bride is portrayed as an offering, encased in gaiety, in lace, in flowers, in dreamy sky blue. As the bride descends the stairs, the blue slowly changes to gray, and the bride's failure to look clearly at where she's going leaves her up against the wall." In this piece, the painting of the walls starts as a blue. Here, the picture is very old, so it's hard to see, but it starts as a bright blue at the beginning, and then it descends to gray as the stairs go down. And there's another mannequin downstairs with the face stuck at the wall. This one is called The Nursery by Shawnee Woolenman. Oversized furniture and toys simulate the feeling of being young, a small person in a big room. Special attention was made to make the space an androgynous, ideal living space for a child. In Shawnee's words, the nursery is the place where we spend much of our very early life, the environment in which most of our early learning and experiences takes place. It is the room which occupies most of the mother's time, both in planning before her child is born and in caring for the child after it's born. I created a room with giant furniture and toys in order to recapture the childhood feeling of being so small in such a big room. I also look at the room for a viewpoint of a woman considering what the ideal living space might be for a child. I have made the room as androgynous as possible because my early memories are of having no sex and being able to do all the things that boys and girls do. This installation is called Shoe Closet by Beth Beckenheimer. Hundreds of pairs of shoes were collected, painted, and treated for this installation. A spike heel features real spikes driven from the bottom of the shoe. A closet with a comically extravagant number of shoes conveys the desperate attempt of women to be fashionable and compensate for the lack of other happiness sources in the life. Stacks of shoes, in Beth Beckenheimer's words. Stacks of shoes have been one of women's most popular obsessions. There are all kinds of shoes for all kinds of special occasions, and there are so many special occasions. The process of creating this shoe-filled environment was itself obsessive. I collected hundreds of shoes and painted or treated each shoe individually. For example, a pair of spike heels is decorated with real spikes, driven all around the bottom of the shoe. This is Red Moon Room by Mira Shore. The Red Moon Room painting is about the night, the rising moon, the blood red moon, about rolling hills and purple and pink and red and green and blue. When the painting was finished, I realized that the room also is dark side of myself. Midnight moon, blood, red dark purple, mirror, the pointing and pointy mirror of the Ori perspective who sometimes feels only she really owns the moon. Mira Shore. This is Painted Room by Robin Mitchell. To make a painting that is a room, to make a room that is a painting. Color on the floor, on the walls, on the furniture, on the ceiling, to fill the room with color, as the sun fills the room with light. Robin Mitchell. This is Nightmare Bathroom by Robin Schiff. A bathtub that hosts a woman figure with most of her body obscured in water, made entirely from loose sand. This installation, as it were made of sand, was almost completely destroyed by the end of the exhibition, because people kept touching it and the sand would crumble and vanish, and the structure would vanish. In her words, Robin Schiff's words, even though the bathroom can be a refuge and a private place, I have always been afraid there. It is not a rational fear. It may stem from the fear I had in childhood of being sucked down the drain with the water. The ritual of confronting my nakedness, staring at my face in the mirror, the fear of being intruded upon. I wanted to convey the idea of vulnerability. The woman in the tub is made completely of loose sand. Sand is able to take a shape and retain its vulnerability at the same time. By the end of the show, she was eroded by fingerprints. Robin Schiff. This one is called Linen Closet. A female mannequin is installed in the closet with shelves and drawers bisecting her body parts. Folded towels sit on the shelves. As one woman in Sandy Orge's words, as one woman visitor to my room commented, "This is exactly where women have always been, in between the sheets and on the shelf. It is time now to come out of the closet." Sandy Orgo. This is about the idea of if a woman is not participating or serving in pleasing her husband sexually, or even paraded as outside the bride role as a trophy wife figure, secondary to her husband, then she's stuck at home carrying out all these household chores. The greatest part about this piece is what it suggests about the culture. It encourages women to participate in the roles of housewife, mother, and bride. And Linen Closet reveals in a disconcerting and powerful manner how women were really limited to identities that were not fully her own. This one is Personal Space by Janice Lester. A bedroom that serves as the artist's personal fantasy, a room that only she can enter. The secret room acts both as a sanctuary and as a trap. In her words, "The idea for my room began with a dream. I dreamed I had a new bedroom. People came to visit me there. It seemed like a nice place. But when I was alone again, I discovered a secret room where only I could go. Fantasy became reality there, and everything was beautiful. Compared to the inner room, the outside room was dull and drab. Later, I realized that the inner room represented the art that never gets made, the richness that most people, especially women, keep locked inside themselves. Then I saw the secret room was a trap as well as a sanctuary, and that's why when I'm inside the room I built, it is both beautiful and frightening." This one it was a performance called Leah's Room by Karen Lecoq and Nancy Uterman. In their words, "Leah's room is a room of lush beauty and suffocating oppression. The strong, pungent smell of magnolia, the pinkness of the wallpaper roses, the hats with veils to soften an aging face, all create a feeling of oppression and decadence. Enmeshed in the suffocating environment was the courtesan Leah, a woman desperately trying to save her fading beauty. Her beauty was her life. Beauty made her pleasing to the gentleman, obtained her favors, gave her wealth and friendship. The performance piece done in this room, in which a woman insensibly applies layer after layer of makeup, portrays the pain of losing beauty, pain of competition with other women. We wanted to deal with the way women are intimidated by the culture to constantly maintain their beauty and the feeling of desperation and helplessness once this beauty is lost." This installation is called Lipstick Bathroom by Camille Gray. A bathroom where every fixture is painted bright lipstick red. The room features 200 plastic lipsticks, a fur-lined bathtub, and a female figure painted entirely red. Stage lights were used to light the bathroom. In Camille Gray's words, she cannot take a bath. The tub is lined with fur. 200 plastic lipsticks painted repeated colors that will not stain her lips. Her panties have been sprayed, bras have been colored, the room and all that entered have been painted lipstick red. Stage lights go on, setting the room ablaze. Her hair is red, her lips are red, her clothes is red. She is hot, the cameras roll. She has a name, she is a woman, and for a moment she is everything, yet it is so absurd, this stage. This is Knuckle Wafers by Kristen Rush. It's an outside installation. Pastel colors contrast the otherwise organic colors of the garden. The ground is painted, and fanciful clouds create a fantasy sky. In Kristen Rush's words, I wanted to create a fantasy sky and a fantasy ground in the garden. I used colors, pastels, that were totally in contrast to the real organic colors of the garden. I painted the ground with turquoise, pinks, blues, pale greens, yellows, and lavender. I made some fanciful clouds that were exactly like drawings I had done of clouds when I was a young child. I wanted the ground to sort of float in the garden and seem unreal. This is Garden Jungle by Paula Longendijk. What resembles the skeletal forms of dead animals is presented in the garden area. This is meant to convey the weakness and vulnerability of such animals. In her words, I chose animals as my subject matter because I identify with the quality of vulnerability in animals. In this world, they are weak, unprotected. They can easily relate to this state of existence. I wanted to deal specifically with prehistorical animals, dead as skeletal forms. The picture I want to create is of walking through a dimly lit, remote jungle about 50 million years ago, discovering large pearly white bones of magnificent creatures. The skeletons lie there, exposed, open, sad. Strange tropical plant life offsets the browns of old decaying plants. In the evening, the jungle is quiet with the exception of a trickling waterfall. And here we start to see the performances. I'll put a tiny extract of the video. The whole video is called Womanhouse. You can see it on YouTube. It was a film created from the exhibition, because most of the exhibition were lost because the house was demolished and all the installations were almost temporary, and many of the objects were stolen or the pieces were completely destroyed in the process of 3 months of exhibition. So here we have the first one. It's called Three Women. There are 3 types of women that are represented: the hustler, the hippie, and the mother. But on the video we can mostly see just the hustler and the hippie. They wear exaggerated makeup and are initially meant to be comical. They tell stories, all trapped in some aspect of being a woman.
Movie screen dream of eternal romance, moonlight in the afternoon, bells ringing and angels singing. You know, a husband, a family, a lifetime of undying love. Wow, man, like, wait a minute, you You know, like you're really on this hate trip. You know, like you're on this fun trip, man. Like you gotta get to love, man. You know, like you gotta get into love and like gotta get into like the vibes, you know, and like tune in, you know, like tune into the universe. Like my body belongs to the universe, you know, and like that's what I do, you know, I just flow with it. When I met this guy, and then he turned me on to acid, man. Like acid is so far out, man. Like
I'll show just some tiny bits of the performances so it doesn't get too long. If you will feel like watching the rest of it, you can check the documentary Womanhouse. There's available on YouTube also, and there are the registers of the whole exhibition. I'll put the link down here on the description. The next one is another performances. From now on, there are all performances. This one is called Maintenance Pieces. One is called Scrubbing, performed by Kristen Rush, and the other one is Ironing, performed by Sandra Orago. On the documentary, there's only the second piece that is called Ironing. These maintenance pieces, they talk about the myth that women find enjoyment and fulfillment on this housework and this repetitive day-to-day activities as it gave fulfillment to women, and they see it as breaking down, isolating, and performing such monotonous, banal, and dehumanizing chore for an audience served to foreground the performative nature of the tasks and their role in the construction of gender, radically undercutting their ideological power. The next piece, it's the performance that one of the most famous performances from the Womanhouse, created by Judy Chicago, one of the co-founders of the exhibition, and it's called Cock and Cunt Play. And you can see that the description that Judy Chicago gave is: Cock and Cunt is a skit in 3 short acts in which 2 women dressed identically in black leotards with oversized pink fennel genitalia perform with deliberate, awkward, puppet-like movements. It begins with one student dressed as the cunt, asking in high-pitched, halting voice if the other, dressed as the cock, will help her do the dishes. Shocked, the cock refuses, claiming his fellows exempt him from doing the dishes. The play continues with the cock mounting the cunt while he declares the superiority of his sex organ, which is long and hard and straight like a gun or a missile, and accuses the cunt of threatening to castrate him by asking him to participate in household chores and please her sexually. The performance ends with the cock beating the cunt to death with his fellows. Let's check it out.
will you help me do the dishes?
Help you do the dishes?
Well,
But you don't have a cock.
Got to do with it.
A cock means you don't wash dishes. You have a cunt. A cunt means you wash dishes.
I don't see where it says that on my card.
Stupid. Your cunt pussy gash hole, or whatever it is round like a dick. My cock is long and hard and straight and meant to shoot like guns or missiles. Anyone can see that. Speaking of...
You can see the rest of the performance on the same documentary, Womanhouse. The next one is called Waiting by Faith Wilding. There's this woman that is sitting on a rocking chair, and she slowly recounts how her days were structured around waiting for things to happen, and her husband to give her pleasure, her kids to leave home, and waiting for some time for herself.
Waiting. Waiting for someone to come in. Waiting for someone to hold me. Waiting for someone to feed me. Waiting for someone to change my diaper. Waiting to crawl, to walk. Waiting to talk. Waiting to wear my frilly dress. Waiting to be a pretty girl. Waiting to sit on Daddy's lap. Waiting. Waiting. Waiting for my breasts to develop. Waiting to wear a bra. Waiting to menstruate. Waiting to read forbidden books. Waiting to go to a party. To be asked to dance close. Waiting to be beautiful. Waiting for the secret. Waiting for life to begin. Waiting. Waiting to get dressed up. To shave my legs. Waiting to be pretty. Waiting for him to notice me. Waiting for him to ask me to go steady. Waiting to neck, to make out. Waiting to go all the way. Waiting to smoke, to drink, to stay out.
This one is available on Vimeo. I'll put the link down here also on the description. And this is the last of the performances. It's called the Birth Trilogy. There are 3 moments on the performance. On the beginning, the women symbolically give birth to one another, and the babies in the scenario lay on the ground until their mothers come hold and nurture them. In the end, all the women gather in a circle as they chant and sing with their heads bowed. The chants grow louder with time, ending in a peak of ecstatic sound. that's it. That's the end of our talk today. Hope you had fun, and see you next time when we will present another great artist from the female gigantic options that we have to talk about. And if you feel like becoming a member of InnoDAO, just let us know. Talk to us by DM on Twitter, Instagram, or if you prefer, we have a community chat on Telegram. And yeah, welcome. Feel welcome to join us. We are always open to new members, and we'll help you set your wallet, your crypto wallet, if you feel like it, and created NFTs on our store. You're really welcome to our family. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.